issued it the last Thursday in the month of April. Today is 29th of April in 2021. One more day to go. Good morning, Africa. Welcome to Breakfast Central on News Central. Je m'appelle Oluchi Inobong.
Good morning, and I'm Olisa Chukuma. We're excited to have you join us on the show today as we set to bring right in your day with the latest news and stories from around the African continent.
All right, so we begin Thursday's Breakfast Central with the headlines.
Security in the country.
And of course, ahead of the 2023 elections, we have INEC to create more polling units, right on here on Breakfast Central.
We'll go to South Africa, where in the Jacob Zuma trial, Ramaphosa is set to testify again today. That's the president of the country.
Still on Breakfast Central, we will let you know some of the trending stories happening on the continent. That is Trend Wave.
We'll also have the latest in terms of taking around the journey for Africa with the latest updates and trends too.
Kuna kallon News Central TV.
Right then, it's April the 29th of Thursday, 2021. Now let's begin breakfast show this morning with a review of the newspapers on the front pages and back pages. Where do we start? Well, East Africa is where we go with the New Vision in Uganda. And there you have it for the front page headline there. It says, failed to agree on banning foreign trips, more now on page 3. But it talks about what the NRM MPs agreed on at the retreat. So there's a picture there of President Yoweri Museveni with the Mufti in Zimbabwe and His Eminence of Sheikh Ismail Al-Musa Menk is the center there of the National Leadership Institute, which happened yesterday. So a bit of international diplomacy. Museveni meets Mufti Menk out there in Uganda. So that's the front page of the New Vision in Uganda. At the top right, it talks about over 310 tenders done in the country.
All right, from the New Vision from Uganda, we're moving back to Nigeria. We always have a punch every day on the papers. Now we're looking at the Punch newspaper here. Of course, the story, the upper part of the paper, you see Nigeria, 6 others account for 65% global gas flaring, I beg your pardon. World Bank is giving this information, the papers this morning from the Punch. Senate demands explanation on 7.5 billion naira withdrawals from NSA. Ahmed. Page 25 of the Punch, you will have that story. And the very big story here, talking about cash crunch. NNPC writes governors, bloated subsidy eats up revenue. More details in the Punch. And of course, you can see the pictures. Quite sad. It's been a sad day for a lot of loved ones. As the slain Kaduna Varsity student buried, colleagues narrate the night of horror. More details and much more and the pages of the Punch this morning.
Quite grim paper, pictures on the front page of the Punch. But let's still stick with Nigeria, West Africa, to the Daily Independent. That's the next paper we're taking there, the Daily Independent in Nigeria. That's what we're going to next. Right then, so you have it there. INEC troubled over the Electoral Act amendment and bill passage. It says all about the 2023 elections and says fixes general elections for February 18, 2023. The UK says passing bill will protect democracy. Also on the front page of the Daily Independent in Nigeria says bandits attack Edo senators convoy twice, injure policemen. All about insecurity. Talks about Ohaneze asking Buhari to probe attacks in the southeast. The Federal Executive Council approves new policy framework to tackle poverty. And in Lagos, Sanwo-Olu flags up for upgrading of 107-year-old Macy Children's Hospital. More on that on page 9. Quite a busy paper this morning, the Daily Independent.
Very busy, I must add. Looking at the Daily Monitor from Uganda this morning. Okay, you can see from the papers we have quite a lot of money that has been called and calculated here. Government pays heavily for unspent loans. You can see the total unspent loan there, and you can see a breakdown of this money as it's been spent and unspent, quote unquote, in Uganda. More details in the Daily Monitor. Coming down, you can also, in the world of entertainment here, we have the veteran musician Sami, who died in Amsterdam. Quite a sad story. But more details you will get in the Daily Monitor and more this morning.
Yeah, there you have it. Also on the front page, the President, Yoweri Museveni, also featuring on that front page, saying he won't wait for MPs and on projects. That's what the President of Uganda is saying. Right then, so there you have it on the front pages in Nigeria. Now let's bring you some of our top stories today on the program.
All right, we'll begin with reports that Boko Haram insurgents a few days ago hoisted their flag in Shiroro local government area of Niger State, which houses one of the nation's largest stations and is just 200 kilometers from the Federal Capital Territory, which is Abuja.
Also, the governor of the state, Abubakar Sani, talked about in Niger State in a recent interview, expressed how helpless the government has become and how many residents have been displaced in the state. Now, just yesterday, the kidnappers of the students of a school in forestry in Kaduna State released a video of those still in captivity.
Now, that's not all. Just last night, gunmen attacked Nkporo police station in Ohafia local government area of Abia State. Now, the attackers were said to have razed the station and burned exhibits, including motorcycles and cars at the station. Some suspects in detention were reportedly released during the attack.
Now, Nkporo is the hometown of Abia Deputy Governor Ude Okochukwu, and we can also go on to talk about the killings in Anambra State, Imo State, Ebonyi State, Yobe, and even Lagos. But the question is, where do we go from here?
All right, while we're still deliberating on that, let us bring in Dr. Nemeka Onyeka Obiareri, the MD CEO of Tyros Capital and Advisory Services Limited, as well as Abdulateef Hamed, Senior News Central Researcher. Gentlemen, good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning. All right, before we go on, we need to watch these clips that we have for you.
Buhari must arise to his responsibility as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If he doesn't do it, our people say that the goat doesn't bite. But when you push it to the wall, it will bite. This is too sad. Buhari cannot be playing us around because these are Fulani men doing the same thing. As I said, they want to take over our land.
As our position, we have a chapter. We cannot keep quiet any longer. It has gotten to a point that we cannot sleep with our two eyes closed. We are not free. Our children are not free. The president must rise to the occasion.
We have been saying this for long. We've been saying this, and all efforts have been in vain. I hope with the outcome of these banditry activities and terrorist activities, I hope the time has come now to see reasons for a very coordinated military action to take place so that we displace.
All right, credits to Benue State TV. We also had that clip there, Governor Tom speaking and Smart Adeyemi also speaking when it comes to the House there. So, Dr. Nemeka, coming to you now, what do you make of the clips we just watched?
What I make out of this clip is clearly a state, a failed nation. Nigeria has failed. And anybody still in that we are running a failed state should wake up now.
Dr. Nemeka, that's a really strong statement that saying Nigeria is a failed state. That's quite an extreme way to put it, many might assume.
Nigeria is a failed state. There's no two ways about it. We know. What are the hallmarks and features of a failed state? Boko Haram has taken part of the side of the northeast. Niger State, which is the biggest state in Nigeria by landmass. Shiroro local government area represents one of the most important LGAs in Nigeria because of the Shiroro Dam. So Boko Haram is there, 100 kilometers away from Abuja. What again do you expect to see? In the southeast, the unknown gunmen are on rampage. To show you evidence that Nigeria is a failed state, this unknown gunmen went to the state police headquarters, one of the most guarded fortress in the whole of the south, where you have the director of SSS, the police commissioner, the brigade commander of the army, government house. They went there unaccosted, freed 2,000 prisoners, walked away. None of them was shot. None of them was killed. There was no resistance.
All right.
Nigeria
okay.
Today is a failed state.
Wow, Dr. Meka, still on the matter, because it seems like the situation is getting worse every day. And it's more like each day comes with a box that has one incident or the other. Just last night, the police station, just as you talked, it was attacked by gunmen. But can we really tell us, or can you really let us know what you think is fueling all of these crimes across the country?
What you're seeing is clearly symptomatic manifestations of a failed nation. Let me tell you, the root cause of this, because we cannot provide solution without going back to history to know where we started failing. The root cause of the woes that we have in Nigeria today can be traced directly to the 1999 Constitution and the abrogation of the 1960 Independent Constitution upon which this country was founded. Today in Nigeria, there is so much division, there is so much resentment, there is so much injustice. I want us to understand clearly that Nigeria did not emerge from the moon. In 1960, the founding fathers of this nation, Ahmadu Bello, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Awolowo, sat down and said, we understand our differences. We also understand our uniqueness. We also understand the need for us to have a very big country made up of 251 ethnic nationalities. But because we have unique features, there is the need for us to fashion a constitution that will accommodate our differences and enable us to grow in diversity. They came up with a unique federal republic constitution that had very strong regional units and a very weak center. The regions were so strong that Sir Ahmadu Bello did not want to come to Lagos to become prime minister. He preferred to be the premier of the northern region and seconded Tafawa Balewa to go there and represent him. That was what we had. Resource control was there. Fiscal federalism was there.
All right, Dr.
Regional was there.
We
destroyed that foundation.
Okay, we'll come to you on. We'll come to you on that, Dr. Nemeka. We still have Abdul Latif Ahmed from News Central's research desk and monitoring. Now, Abdul Latif, what some people say, is shocking to them is continued silence of the President Buhari, despite all that is happening in the country. And you can also hear that from Governor Tom, even from Senator Smart, crying out like something has to be done. Leaders have to step up now. What do you make of this, and what can you tell us?
Yeah, so it's beyond the silence. It's in the coldness. It's in the fact that he's largely indifferent. He's not said beyond talking. We need action. The images we see from the northeast of our soldiers is scandalizing. The images we see of people moving, from their homes is disturbing. Look at the fact that Boko Haram, for example, did get to Niger State recently, and for a very long time, I did warn, in 2015, that some groups were camping in Kebbi State, which is a few kilometers away from Niger State, for example. Niger State is, houses one of the, our major power generating sets, in the country. It is a strategic state. The president should not be seen to be quiet, to be silent when our soldiers die, to be quiet when people lose their lives. He's expected to address the country. He's expected to empathize with families who have lost their loved ones. People are being kidnapped on a daily basis, and these patterns are the same patterns that were, antecedents to what we now have as, insurgency in the northeast. So it's ungodly to have such kind of silence in spite of the number of deaths, in spite of what people go through on a daily basis.
All right, gentlemen, let me also ask, but first, Abdul Latif, there are calls from support from other countries, which is not new. Just on Tuesday, President Buhari called for support from the U.S. government. We know that this has happened in time past, but what is the guarantee in this scenario that the support, if it eventually comes, will address all of these issues and more?
It is fine that we seek for support when we have used up all our ideas and we are unable to solve a problem like this. However, it is not just about support. Within the system, there's need to rejig our security architecture. There's need for better collaboration between our security, our interagency collaborations. There's need for us to rejig what we have between Nigeria and other neighboring countries, Nigeria, Chad, Niger, and other countries facing issues of terrorism. And so even if we were to invite foreign support, it is fine. But beyond foreign support, what are we doing within the system? Are we able to maximize our armory? Are we able to maximize intelligence? If you look at the insurgents, there is an evidence that they have maximized the use of deployment of intelligence, even better than our military do. So we need to do something about it. And anytime our military is calling for backup, there should be backup. And so when you have issues around intelligence failure, you have issues around internal security failure, you need to address some of this before you call for external help, because otherwise people will come to help us and will not be able to utilize the help they are offering to us.
All right, thank you very much, Abdul Latif Ahmed from News Central Research and Monitoring Desk. But Dr. Nemeka, please stay with us. So we are still with you right here on Breakfast Central. More stories up next right here. Yes, it's still Breakfast Central. We're still in Nigeria, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced plans to create additional 2,424 in terms of the move, taking the total number of polling units in the state to 6,866.
Now, the Resident Electoral Commission, which is REC in Rivers State, Obo Efanga, said the last time additional polling units were created in Nigeria was 25 years ago.
Now, the REC also announced that the continuous voters registration will commence on June 28, 2021 across the country. Also adding that all new registrants and current voters will be transferred to the new polling units where they fall into. And we still have Dr. Nemeka here with us for this one.
All right, Dr. Nemeka. This is a question that concerns the election for 2023. The polling units were having additions. Recall that the last addition that was done in terms of polling units in Nigeria was about 23 years ago. Now, Dr. Emeka, this time we're talking about polling units. Is this the right time for INEC to do this when the nation is on fire, as few politicians have purportedly said?
Without apologies, anybody still talking about 2023 election under this current situation is insane. That is pure insanity.
Well, I wanted to permit that, but you already said without unreserved apologies. But I think you can carry on. But that's quite a strong statement, Dr. Nemeka. But carry on.
There's an adage that says you don't start searching to kill rats when your house is on fire. You don't pursue rats, looking for rats to kill when your house is burning. And we have to be honest with ourselves. First of all, INEC itself is complaining that they are unable to effect the Electoral Reform bill in the National Assembly. How can INEC be talking about election when we have unresolved issues with electoral reforms? There are electoral reforms waiting at the National Assembly. Nigeria had never had any transparent election since 1993, the infamous 1993 election that was handled by Humphrey Woods, which was adjudged to be the freest and the fairest election since 1993. Nigeria has never had any election that is either free or fair. INEC is here talking about polling units when they have not done the needful, which is executing, getting the National Assembly to pass the new Electoral Act that will bring in transparency, that will bring in digital platforms into the system, that will allow elections results to be called at the polling units as it is done in St. Clim's, to allow election results to be transmitted immediately and remotely. INEC is busy creating electoral polling units. Let me tell you, if you take our time and look at some of the electoral polling units they've created, it's just creating avenues through which they will rig and pad votes. We are tired of this. What we should be thinking about, the first thing we should be thinking about now is to restructure Nigeria, destroy the 1999 Constitution. It's a criminal document. Go back to the 1960 constitutional framework.
All right.
That allowed for resource control, fiscal federalism, part-time governance. In 1960, we had part-time political office holders.
All right, Dr.
We
Nemeka.
have clean bureaucracy
All right.
that allowed the resources to be used to do capital projects.
All right, for you, electoral reform, before I talk about new polling units, but I'm sure we'll like to really have you back because you're talking about resource control and going back to the regional government systems we had back in the days. But thank you so much for coming on the program, Dr. Nemeka, on Breakfast Central. We'll surely like to have you again, but thank you once again.
Thank you. All righty. I mean, looking at the elections, I mean, elections are coming up in 2023, but some school of thought is coming out to say that that people, but they're probably trying to plan ahead to avoid certain uncertainties that may happen for the 2023 elections. All
right. Interesting announcement. There are over 2,000 polling units announced. Still more top stories right here on Breakfast Central.
All right, moving on to South Africa. The South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is expected to continue his testimony today at the country's side capture commission. Ramaphosa appeared before the Zondo Commission yesterday for a full day of testimony.
Now, he was appearing in his capacity as head of the African National Congress, and the country's, which is the country's ruling party. And also yesterday, he admitted that the state capture took place under their watch as the governing party. Now, there have been some calls for the statesman to step down. Now, joining us now on Breakfast Central is South African political analyst Oliver Dixon to really unpack the statesman's evidence. Good morning to you, Oliver. Welcome to Breakfast Central.
Good morning, Oliver.
Well, Oliver, we can't hear you. You might want to mute your audio so we can have a conversation right here.
Oh, there we go. I'm so sorry about that.
It's all right, Oliver. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, Oliver. Okay, so pray tell, do you think the calls for Ramaphosa to step down are actually valid?
Look, it's a political expression, so of course it's valid. I think anyone who calls for Cyril Ramaphosa to be held accountable would do so in good faith. I think we've heard enough evidence since the start of the State Capture Commission in 2018 to know that the ANC as a ruling party has failed in Ramaphosa, all while having been there, has done very little to rescue the party from itself. More importantly, to rescue the state from itself. This guy's not new to the political system. He served as a deputy president of the country under Jacob Zuma and now serves as the president of the country. At the same time, while having served as the deputy president and now president of the ruling party, the African National Congress. And the big question is, what have you done while all of this was happening? And what we heard yesterday was just a series of vague platitudes of a president saying we did wrong, we will do right, we're fixing ourselves, but no real indication of who exactly has been held accountable and for what exactly they have been held accountable. He speaks of wrongdoing with no specificity to what was wrong, what wrong has been done specifically, and what parts of the law that broke. And so it was a very vague and unsurprisingly vague testimony, and he's back this morning. He's about 20 minutes into his day 2 appearance.
All right, Oliver, before we let you go quickly, Ramaphosa's testimony covers a time when he was the Deputy President of South Africa. Now, does it really implicate him or make him complicit in this act? And also, what's the public's reaction to the President's appearance in this commission?
Look, when he was Deputy President of the African National Congress, he, for a while at the start of his term, he was not yet President of the country, but still held a great amount of influence because he was expected to become President of the country, Deputy President of the country anytime soon thereafter, right? It's just a formality, and, you know, it was just a matter of waiting for one term to end for the next to start. And all while he was waiting for that to happen, the president took a board appointment as the chairperson of a major mining company that supplies coal to Eskom, which is our national electricity provider. And what he did during that time was negotiate on behalf of that mining company preferential rates towards Eskom, and, you know, those rates prejudiced Eskom. And then shortly after that, he became Deputy President and was assigned by the President to go and rescue Eskom from the death pit it found itself in. And so there's a clear conflict of interest there that has not yet been addressed by the Commission. We hope that will be addressed today. But the reaction of the country is mixed in for the most part. Many people feeling that Ramaphosa is not taking real accountability, and in fact that he's wasting our time. A different half of the country, depending on where on the political spectrum you stand, are quite happy with the fact that he is acknowledging that the ANC has failed the country. But to me, that's not good enough.
All right, Oliver. Now, happy or not, the president appeared at the commission just one day after your country celebrated Freedom Day. What does his testimony mean for accountability in the young democracy of South Africa?
Look, I think South Africa has an incredibly robust democratic system. I think, and I think it's globally competitive as far as its robustness is concerned. The fact that recalcitrant leaders in our country do have a term that comes to an end, oftentimes are removed from office through peaceful protest. We haven't experienced a civil war of any sorts. And you know, we have institutions in place like the courts, like the Public Protector's Office, like a State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and various other checks and balances in place to hold people accountable. So I think the construction of our democracy is reasonably strong. But I see what we're starting to see with the State Capture Commission is that even a rules-based approach to democracy and an institutionalized approach to democracy is still vulnerable to people who have nefarious agendas for the state, and the cracks are starting to show, and the ANC has fallen through the crevices of the cracks. And it's unfortunate that we are here now, because if our democracy was robust enough, I think we would not have to be here at this moment. But I can't think of a democracy anywhere in the world where graft does not at some point happen. It just so happened that in South Africa, and I think Africa at large, it just happens at a really grand scale. And I think what the State Capture Commission is trying to achieve is to ask the question, how did this happen? How do we prevent it from ever happening again?
All right. Thank you very much, Oliver Dixon. Quite an interesting one. The president appearing in the State Capture Commission as the leader of ANC, the party, ruling party today. But we'd love to have you once again on Breakfast Central. So thank you very much once again, Oliver Dixon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You are still watching Breakfast Central with Olisa and Oluchi. Still to come on the program. Well, all about business updates. You will be joining our business correspondents later.
And of course, in the world of sports, Enyimba through to quarterfinals of KFA.
I will also have the trend wave with Elizabeth Musa with the latest.
Kuna kallon News Central TV.
Right then, you're still watching Breakfast Central. Thank you very much for sticking with us. It's time to give you the latest updates in the world of business. And who else to bring us up to speed than Naz himself from News Central's business desk? Well, Naz, good morning to you. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's all about Flutterwave. They are making the headlines. So what's up with them?
Well, as it is now, Flutterwave has made the list of the top 100 influential companies for 2021. Now, we all know Flutterwave here in Nigeria because this is a company that has been breaking grounds. Well, this particular new achievement of theirs was given to them by Time Magazine. You know that magazine, right? Yes, good. Now, Time Magazine has 5 new categories. Now, the pioneers, disruptors, and 3 other ones. Now, the pioneer one is where Flutterwave is making an impact. That's the only African firm of any category that was included in all the 5 categories in Time Magazine's new outlook. Now, with this, it means that Flutterwave has been doing something fantastic across the continent, not just in Nigeria. Remember that not long ago, Flutterwave had a new partnership with a payment system in America, that's PayPal. Okay. Not just that, just last month, Flutterwave had new valuation. They got $170 million into their coffers. Now, with that, Flutterwave has officially joined the $1 billion club.
Wow. And so it's quite a landmark for them. So it looks like there's investor confidence if they can pull off such funds into their coffers.
Yes, Flutterwave really is a wonderful company that anyone would want to have a piece of. But they are not going public yet. They're still a private business, but they are providing lots of solutions across Africa. Now, many firms were able to stay in business because of Flutterwave, particularly during the lockdown. They ensure that small business holdings and even some major ones are able to have to really earn money via the payment system. That's one of the major reasons why they were included in this particular new categories which Time Magazine just created for 2021.
All right, this is the beginning of many more good news for Flutterwave at this point in time. This is a big achievement, especially during post-pandemic or post-COVID at this point in time. All right, thank you very much, Nas. Thank you for this update.
Thank you.
You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Now let's take you through some of the trends on the African continent. Odisa, I hear lies have been detected by the Lagos State government.
Really? Well, it's all about gossip, folks. And Elizabeth Michael, a.k.a. Lizzie Wizzy, she's got the latest on the trends. Liz, what is happening?
Good morning, Olisa and Olishi. I'm always happy to be here. So today on the Trend Wave, it's a very different kind of story. So recall that weeks ago, the photo of an amputee hawker went viral on social media. She was photographed hawking water on the streets of Lagos. But a new twist has emerged. Just before I take you to the twist, after this photo emerged and it was shared on social media, in a good light, as you expect from social media users, they started donating money to our account because the account was shared on social media, and then people started making donations to our account up to about a tune of 25 million naira. Really heartwarming, I must say. But in an interview which she made, she said that she was an orphan and she lost her parents in a fatal accident which cost her a leg when they were on their way to Kogi State. But last night, just like the picture you just said, last night it was found out that there might have been a bit of discrepancies as her father is still alive and she allegedly was amputated at birth. Now, this problem began after she began receiving threatening calls by the group of people who allegedly staged her appearance on that fateful day where she was hawking. So we understand that cases like this have happened in the past where, if we remember clearly, the case of the bread seller, Olajumoke Orishaguno, where she actually photobombed the photo shoot and was, people saw this picture and then people said she might actually be a good model, and then people started, she became the rave of the movement. and people donated for her. She even got a house that period. I'm talking about Olajumoke Orisaguna now. So this is a case that's happened in the past. But this is new now. We've had cases like this where people share things on social media and people come to their rescue, people donate for them, give them homes, give them things. But how do we hold these people accountable? Because that's the issue now. Because if we're hearing that now there are discrepancies and then there are people that actually are behind this thing. So that means people want to exploit the situation. Okay. So it's actually a big issue. So if discovered that these issues are true, it will definitely lead to trust issues from individuals who on the internet come to the rescue of people who are in need.
Okay, I can assume why this is trending on the social media space, Twitter sphere, especially in Nigeria. Phone calls and threats from allegedly people who staged. Lizzie, that's quite damning. Yeah. Wow.
It's really sad. So we will just keep an eye on this story and see how it goes. Hopefully this doesn't lead to, trust issues already, because already as it stands, lots of people are a bit, they think twice before, donating to causes like this on social media, because there are now people who have taken to this causes to be exploitative and fraudulent. So hopefully people don't start shying away or running away from situations like this to help people. So let's just keep an eye on this story and see how it goes.
All right.
So let me just take you to much better story. In South Africa, Thuso Mbedu has scored a new role opposite Hollywood superstar Viola Davis in the upcoming film The Woman King. So those are the trends on the social media space. We have Thuso Mbedu. So the news comes just weeks after Thuso makes a much anticipated debut on Amazon Prime Video's Underground Railroad. The Woman King tells the story of a female military unit and her daughter who together fight the French and neighboring tribes who enslave their people and threaten to destroy lives. So Thuso Mbedu has been nominated twice Emmy-nominated actress, and she also became the first SA actress to lead a mainstream US series with her role as Cora in Underground Railroad, a series about a young slave who escapes from a plantation with her companion. But let's go back to the topic now. She is starring alongside Viola Davis, which you can see on your screen right there. Big deal, because everybody knows that Viola is an amazing actress. So Thuso getting this deal is definitely a big deal and a win for woman power, girl power, to be honest. So those are some of the things people are saying. Some people are saying Thuso Mbedu to work with Viola Davis. Man, I need that woman. So people are really happy about this news. So it's definitely a good day in South Africa.
Okay, so that's good for Thuso Mbedu. Viola Davis, clearly an iconic one.
No, but I feel so proud to be a woman in this generation, because women are doing so much. You're coming out.
I'm so proud right now.
Right? Oh my goodness, and Famzin.
All right, Liz, thank you so much for the latest on the trend wave from South Africa to Nigeria. Liz, always on point. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, guys.
Right then, still to come right here on News Central. We'll take you outside Africa for the latest what's going on away from the continent.
And of course, programs to watch on News Central today.
today on News Central. You can catch Business Edge at 11 a.m. West African time.
And of course, by 5:15 p.m. West African time, we have East Central.
And tonight at 9 p.m. Primetime News, NC Continental. You don't want to miss that. You're still watching Breakfast Central. Let's go away from Africa. And now we have Joe Hansen to tell us what's happening outside the continent. Good morning to you, Joe. Let us know what's going on.
Guys, morning. Well, just before the 9 a.m. news, there's this story that's going on outside of Africa, and it's got to do with the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Now, no doubt, many people know this, that it's hard for you to actually have an African leader or a politician who probably built houses or has built houses, owned cars, and then you investigate. Where did you get the money from? We know that wouldn't happen here in Africa, right? Anyway, in the UK, Boris Johnson will face formal investigation into apartment renovation that cost Britain a lot of money. Now, the question is, Britain's political spending watchdog will launch a formal investigation into the funding of renovations to Prime Minister Boris Johnson's apartment in Downing Street as he faces multiple allegations of political sleaze and scandal. Now, the question is, he went on a trip, of course, with his babe, and there was a lot of money spent, and then he renovated his apartment. And everybody's asking right now, the MPs, where did you get the money from to renovate this apartment? In short, they are actually taking time to discuss this issue, and this could lead to a lot of prosecution as we speak. So that's one of the major stories that's happening outside of Africa this morning. Olisa, think about this happening in Africa. Oluchi, think about that, asking the president in Africa, or a prime minister, or even a governor, where did you get money from to buy that house?
My official look.
Yeah, reports of him saying it was out-of-pocket expenses to renovate the apartment. So I think we'll leave that to Boris. But also, quite importantly, quite a sad news, Joe, about the passing of a man who clearly, the likes of Armstrong, went to the moon too. So quickly, Joe, before you go.
That's right. That's another story, of course, and he was widely celebrated. Now, don't forget, too, that there were three who actually took that trip. Unfortunately, he was not always celebrated. He was the only one who was left, and eventually he died on Wednesday. Now, that death has sparked a lot of celebrations across the world. This is a man who also took that very, very daring trip away from the Earth to another planet, no doubt. And it's still going on right now outside the continent of Africa. People are still celebrating him, and we're also taking note of that.
All right, at the age of 90, Michael Collins, who was with Neil Armstrong in the moon. What else? What a life well spent.
Last story, Lisa, as you get ready to wrap up, I'm just going to tell everyone watching us on News Central TV to ensure that they join us at 9 a.m. for the news and get the latest stories across Africa. And India is also in the news. Quite sad, quite sad. So many deaths, and the issue of asking and burning the prayers, and so on and so forth. It's saddening, I must say, guys. It's really saddening. Coronavirus, 200,000 deaths, devastating figure. Really sad. Really, really sad.
The sign in your voice says it all, Joe.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Joe Hansen, for the latest outside of Africa right here on Breakfast Central. I'm sure we'll have you back for more on the program on the daily.
Anytime.
Right then, it's been quite an interesting Thursday with Olisa and Oluchi today on the Breakfast Central. We had entertainment, we're trend wave, so to speak. We had sports, we had news, we had analysis, we had politics, we had insecurity in Nigeria. It goes on and on and on.
All right, we'll be here again same time tomorrow. I remain Oluchi Enabong.
And I'm Olisa Chukuma. Breakfast Central returns for Friday's edition. It will be a banger. You don't want to miss it. 8 a.m. West African time tomorrow morning. The dynamic O Duo will be here once again. Bye-bye.
Yeah. At the mall. Yeah.